praise you, Lord Jesus Christ.
The gospel that we heard is another parable. What is a parable? Allow me to give a simple definition of what a parable is. Parables are earthly stories that tell of heavenly realities. A parable is like a brief allegory that is used to teach a religious or a moral lesson. The parable that we heard today is known as the parable of the rich man. But the complete name of the parable is the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. These are the two characters in our gospel for today. On the one hand, you have the rich man. On the other hand, you have Lazarus. The first is a symbol of solitary luxury and ostentation. The second is a symbol of solitary poverty and misery. The first character, the rich man, feasts by himself with sumptuous food, but the second character, Lazarus, is dying of hunger. The first character, the rich man, changes his clothes, all branded, several times a day. But the second character, Lazarus, does not even own a thread. My dear brothers and sisters, we can say some more contrasts about the rich man and Lazarus, but we will not say everything in this homily. The unnamed rich man is often called Dives, because Dives is the Latin for the word rich. The poor beggar is named Lazarus, the Greek form of the Hebrew Eleazar, that means the one who trusts in God, or God is my help. That is why the parable may be called the parable of Dives and Lazarus. What is the key to the correct understanding of this parable? Does it mean that all rich people are bad and that they are condemned to go to hell, and that all poor people are good and that they are destined to enter heaven? By no means, because some people are materially rich, but they are spiritually poor. Other people are materially poor, but they are spiritually rich. Some people are materially and spiritually rich, and there are also people who are materially and spiritually poor. How then should we understand the parable? What is the key to its correct meaning? My dear friends, the answer to our questions lie in the name Lazarus, because names often convey a person's character or personality. Today's parable is interestingly the only parable in the Gospels in which the character or characters are named. And so the name must be significant for interpreting the lesson of the parable. Lazarus is not just a poor man, but a poor man who believes and trusts in God. A person may be rich, but feels he is a Lazarus, and then heaven can be his. A person may be poor, but he feels he has no need for God, then heaven will not be his. If you feel like a Lazarus right now, if you are battered by illness or experiencing poverty, isolation, loneliness, and pain, if you feel you are forgotten by others and by those whom God has blessed in this life, continue believing and trusting in God, knowing that it will be well with you in the end. But if you see yourself as one of those blessed by God with the good things in life, open your eyes, open your heart. My dear brothers and sisters, probably there is a Lazarus lying at your door and you have not taken notice. Your Lazarus could even be inside your own house. Your Lazarus could even be inside your community, could be in your class. Your Lazarus could even be in your family. Someone you do not mind, someone you ignore, someone you do not talk to, someone you bash, someone you laugh at. Do you have a Lazarus whom you continue to disregard in your life? My dear friends, the sin of the rich man is that he ignored Lazarus. He was indifferent to Lazarus. The rich man has selective eyes. He did not notice, or he chose not to notice Lazarus. We often think that we sin only by word, by thought, and deed. But there is another way of sinning, and that is what we call the sin of omission. Not all sins are sins of commission. There are also sins of omission. I do not know if you notice that when we say, I confess at the beginning of the Mass, this is what we say. These are the exact words that we say. I have sinned through my own fault in my thoughts and in my words, in what I have done, sin of commission, and in what I have failed to do, that is, Jobert, the sin of omission. My dear friends, the parable, well, there's a little story. We still have time. I wanted to skip the story, but let me just narrate the story. There is a story told of a man who dies and arrives before the gates of heaven where Peter was standing. Peter reviews the book of life and he did not find the name of the man there, and so he informs the man that his place is in hell. The man protested, "But what big sin have I done, Peter? What am I guilty of? I did nothing." But Peter said, "Precisely, that is why you are going to hell, because you did nothing." And that is what we call the sin of omission. My dear brothers and sisters, today's parable doesn't mean that in the next life there will be an automatic reversal of status. That is, those who are well now here will go to hell, and those who are not doing well now will automatically go to heaven. People who have something to share can even use the little they have to serve God and share with the poor, and they will be blessed in the next life. People may be poor and yet spend their lives in bitterness, in envy and laziness, and still refuse to believe and trust in God, may yet again suffer in the next life. On a more personal note, what is this that I do not use and that I do not need and that I can generously share with others? I remember one of our professors in the seminary in Tagaytay, may he rest in peace, Father Herman Müller, SVD, our professor in exegesis now buried here at Christ the King. In one of his conferences that he gave to our class, I remember Father Muller telling us, I felt guilty. When you go back to your rooms, open your closet, look at the things that you are not using, the things that you have not been using for a long time. Why are they lying there? They do not belong to you anymore. They belong to somebody who will be able to use them because they need them. My dear brothers and sisters, if Mahatma Gandhi could see what is inside our closets and our drawers, Mahatma Gandhi would probably be shocked and scandalized and tell us, you are thieves. You are unnecessarily keeping more than what you need in life. And finally, let us learn to travel light. Travel light in life. Because a person who knows how to travel light will travel fast and travel far.